The life skill that my group chose was communications. In our personal opinions, communicating and communications in general is one of the most important life skills someone can have. It helps us bring the world go around. It helps us do many things, extraordinary things, especially with the technology we have today, with all the phones we have and the computers. We can communicate with anyone in the world. Halfway across the world, you can just communicate to anyone you want, even if you don't even speak the same language. Communication is all around us. Every day we communicate with each other in some way or another, whether it be texting or calling or even just going face to face. It's everywhere. And if you don't know how to communicate, then you won't be able to get much because that's how the way the world works. By communicating with each other, you go up and you go higher and higher until you others come to you to communicate with you so they can come higher and higher. And it's just a cycle that goes on and on and on and on. Yeah.
Our group chose the entrepreneurial skills of focusing, finding and managing people, selling yourself, self reflection, and learning. These skills relate to our common reading book, as Adam Braun displayed all of these skills in varying segments of his life presented within the book. His focus can be seen every time he sets a goal for Pencils of Promise, like in the way of like a certain number of schools being built, and even before he actually set up the organization while he was working his investment job in New York. Braun had to find various people to work for different positions in the organizations because he couldn't do it all by himself. That's the example for finding and managing people. A good example of how he reached out to, another good example of that would be when he reached out to his to his former semester at sea classmates to see if they want to take part in the organization. Okay. When it comes to selling himself, Ron realized that he needed to be able to do that so that he could get more donations for his organization, since he apparently was bad at it. An example of this from the book would be when he was meeting for like a possible uh, big let's see a big like source of money for the organization. When he met him, uh, the way he went about asking him, he did get like money. He did get like a certain like amount of like pledged money, but the person he was asking ended up critiquing how he did it and told him that he could have asked for more, like, and he could have done it better and something and things along those lines. Yeah. Oh, and his experience with learning how to sell himself also serves as an example of like self-reflection on his part, because he figured out that he needed to be able to get better at it and to like take a step back and realize that it was something important that he needed to do. And learning also serves as also fits into that, because he actually did learn how to sell himself better. He like made it a part of the like uh like not really day-to-day stuff, but like he set out to make part of like certain parts of his like work day to like have like to go over like I guess mock situations where you would have to do it, uh and doing like a bunch of research on the topic as well, so he could improve his ability in it.
Communication helps to spread knowledge and forms relationships between people. It is crucial to communicate effectively in negotiations to ensure that you achieve your goals and share ideas with others. Communication is also important within the business. Effective communication can help you foster a good working relationship between you and your staff, which can turn to improve morale and efficiency. Knowing who you are communicating to and why it helps sends a clearer message. It is important to consider any barriers you may encounter, such as cultural differences or situational circumstances. Being confident and passionate about what you are presenting to the audience is also a major part of this class and book. It is also important to be open towards criticism and to always be looking to improve yourself. There are no guarantees that your communication efforts will be met with total compliance and agreement. As long as everyone is respectful, you can still have a successful exchange of communication.
The entrepreneurship skills I chose that support my academic, personal, and/or professional success were innovation, self-reflection, and learning. Innovation refers to the construction of a product, service, or methodology that achieve one's goals or aspirations. They usually consist of prototypes of said product or service that highlight its general functions in an ideal environment. Self reflection is a contemplation of the process we employed to create our service or product and an analysis of the results or observations we gathered from those who use them. Learning refers to the establishing of a basis for improvement from the critiques we gathered from self reflection. These can result in multiple versions of a product or a completely new system or product or means of accomplishing a goal. The second question was how these said skill sets assist us in developing or in supporting a mental well-being. These skills provide a progressive margin of improvement to which we can ourselves challenge to develop a more efficient means of satisfying our goals. In other words, we learn from our failures. This is a series of trials and errors. And a popular theory that could be mentioned was the idea of a growth mindset from which we correct our mistakes and further understand why we made them and what the idea behind them was.
I'm trying not to make this boring, but it's gonna be. I'm sorry. Our chosen life skill is communication, and we believe that that's important because as individuals and as a group, we're starting this chapter of our lives in college, and that entails big decisions, continuous hard work, and what we believe to be an important life skill, communication. We believe that communication can support academic success because we're pretty much forced to communicate effectively in the classroom, to our peers, to our professors, etc. It can very much support personal success as we need to have a clear, we have to have clear communication with ourselves, first of all, and a good self-understanding in order to know what we want and what we're striving for in life. This also leads to professional success because it can get us to where we need to be in an academic setting, which then leads us to our professional setting and of our desired work environment. Communication will eventually be a key part of our profession because we must have good communication with whoever may be involved in that workplace. This chosen life skill will also support mental well-being because communication is a huge part of life. It's a skill that's relevant to everything we do and helps us succeed at achieving our goals. And at the end of the day, this leads to happiness and supports our mental well-being. Merry Christmas!